This comes to us from Z Karishi, and they are over in Japan. They say Visa and Mastercard agreed to a massive, near $200 million settlement in a lawsuit filed by merchants alleging antitrust violations. The lawsuit alleges that card brands' uniform changes to their policies regarding how they handled chargebacks, losses resulting from unauthorized transactions or fraud, forced merchants to incur unjustifiable expenses. Other defendants, Discover and American Express, previously agreed to pay a combined $32.2 million to resolve merchant claims against them. These issues are only part of the unreasonable behavior perpetrated by the international card brands, backed by their overwhelming market share. The recent issue of card company censorship, which threatens content culture, particularly manga, anime, and games, is also a result of their overwhelmingly advantageous position. In Japan, the government must take proactive action to prevent these companies from monopolizing their businesses and ensure fair trade for consumers. I will continue to urge them to do so. And I do believe this guy is somewhat part affiliated with the Japanese diet. I'm not necessarily sure how connected he is, but it is something that is definitely near and dear to his heart over in Japan. Savvy quote tweets and says, before people start thinking this is significant, I have to do my usual bearer of bad news bears party pooping. Last year, MasterCard and Visa, this was prior to their ridiculous rule changes and attacking Steam and other platforms in Japan, reached a $30 billion payout over settlements over fees. Some of the cases starting back in 2005. And a year prior to that, they had a $5.6 billion settlement. Holy shit. How much money do these card companies have when they settle, it feels like annually, in the multi-billions of dollars just to settle to make them go away? Holy shit. Visa and MasterCard will not stop being pieces of crap, violating antitrust. No government will actually do anything. No one will ever be arrested. And this is the world we live in. She's absolutely right, by the way. Year after year, settlement after settlement, nothing ever changes. Shows the MasterCard Visa reach a $30 billion settlement over credit card fees. And this is March 2024, $30 billion with a B. March 2023, a year before, Visa MasterCard, $5.6 billion with a B. Settlement with retailers is upheld. So yeah, this one with $200 million is literally pissing in the ocean for them, which is wild. And Zikarishi writes back, sadly, despite the criticism of many consumers, the Japan Fair Trade Commission is not taking any action. Political power is also needed to close the gap between reality and the law and its implementation, which sounds great when you make a tweet saying, go, go, rah, rah. The problem comes in with a company that has more money than you could possibly imagine. Think Breaking Bad with the fat black guy laying down on the money. Think that like times a million. That's Visa and MasterCard. They have all the money in the world. Anytime anyone questions or challenges them, they just would allegedly, most likely, find a way to grease their pockets and make it go away. Let's be honest. When you have that kind of money, you have that kind of power and influence. Savvy replied, I think the issue is governments are too scared to do anything to risk destabilizing the world, which is another great point. On top of what I just said, that's a banger. How will they be able to insider trade if their money networks go down? I firmly believe if this were any other service somehow doing what they have done, they would be shut down or broken up. But because it is this money tied to money, But because it is this tied to money, nothing will be done. And I can see it too. Imagine all the small businesses that rely on daily transactions of the largest card networks. It would be cruel to them, but the world is hurting, and I don't know what else to do. What do you do if, by and large, every company utilizes Visa and MasterCard? It's literally what makes the world spin outside of gravity in the current situation we find ourselves in. They have gotten so big and so uncontrolled that you cannot stop them. Unconcerned Human says the FTC, are you so incompetent they have to call out the powerful people or other monopolies to yell at you before they will listen? Clearly, the FTC is a mess and a farce. FTC does not care and will never do anything. Wolfstar said, I'm doing some digging. They have been slowly implementing DEI. It has not been slow, by the way. I've covered, it has been rapid and it's scary. Severy replies, slowly? Laugh my ass off, homie. They straight up pay for so many American style pride things all around the world, have pushed it through their rules, and their hiring managers are all DEI, which exactly. Maybe it's just initial surface level where you run into the DEI, but yes, it is bad. Anyways, I did a little bit more digging on this situation because while it is pissing in the ocean for them, it is still something. It's something. This is from Reuters. They said Visa, MasterCard agree to the $199.5 million settlement in merchants class action. This is from October 13th, 2025. They said they've agreed to pay a combined $200 million to settle a near decade-old class action that accused them of forcing merchants to swallow some of the costs of fraudulent transactions involving counterfeit, lost, or stolen cards. Think about that for a second. That these companies, Visa and MasterCard, are so big that they could throw their weight around, at least for a decade or so, and make merchants take on some of that cost without any kind of recourse. Finally, after a decade or so, it comes back to bite them for the tune of a paltry $200 million. In the grand scheme of a decade for Visa and MasterCard, it literally is pissing in the ocean. That is literally the same thing for how much money that is for what they've made in that amount of time. The proposed settlement was filed on Friday in the federal court in Brooklyn and requires approval from Chief U.S. District Judge Margo Brodie. Holy shit. That's my judge. Whoa. Full stop. I saw Brooklyn. I was like, oh, funny. I'm getting sued in Brooklyn. Oh, Margo K. Brodie, the Honorable Obama appointed Judge Margo K. Brodie. Whoa, buddy. Holy shit. My goodness. If I ever do meet Margo, I'll have to ask her about this situation. Wow. That's like a full stop. Holy crap. Is that good or bad? Says Stash My Ash. I don't know. I think it's just neutral. But that is definitely something. Wow. Wow. Small world indeed. Holy shit. Whoa, buddy. Anyways, merchants first sued the payment networks in 2016. This is literally a couple months away from a decade, alleging they violated antitrust law by moving in lockstep to change rules on chargebacks, which are reverse payments triggered by customer disputes. The shift exposed businesses to greater costs without any reduction in transaction fees. Under the new framework, merchants became liable for chargebacks if they had not upgraded point-of-sale systems to accept chip-enabled cards. Visa said it will pay $119.7 million. MasterCard will pay almost $80 million, according to the settlement. Two other defendants, Discover and American Express, agreed earlier to pay a combined $32.2 million. This case right here proves that all these companies work together in coercion as a club to push forward with an agenda, and you are powerless as a consumer. This is literally the definition of a monopoly, where they all, just a few companies, and they all work together. This is illegal, what they're doing. And what they're being charged is a drop in the bucket. All 4 companies denied any wrongdoing. Why would you settle for $200+ million? Actually, if you include Discover and American Express, it's like $250 million. Why would you settle for that if you say that you did nothing wrong? Clearly you had some concerns that maybe they'd see it a different way. Because that's a lot of money to just settle on. In a statement, Mastercard said it welcomed the resolution and emphasized its efforts to promote adoption of advanced technology to protect Mastercard purchases at every step. Visa and attorneys for the merchants did not immediately respond for comment. In a court filing, plaintiffs' lawyers called the deal an excellent outcome for the class. They said the settlement represents about 13% of the plaintiff's best case damages estimate and more than 50% of a conservative benchmark provided by Visa and Mastercard's experts. So it sounds like Visa and Mastercard still making out pretty good here. They're only paying 13% of, so they're still making money in the grand scheme of it. This is less than a slap on a wrist. This is more like a pat on the ass, like, good work. Get out there, bro. Do it again. The proposed accord is separate from the $5 billion that Visa and Mastercard agreed to pay in 2019 to resolve merchant claims that they improperly fixed credit and debit card fees. Wow. The case is B&R Supermarket versus Visa. Plaintiffs, all these people, I don't know any of them. Visa have their own lawyers. Mastercard has their own team of lawyers. But yeah, that is the situation. That is wild. I am blown away that Margo K. Brodie. That is wild. What a small world. Wow. And she's the judge of all judges to be handling this case. That's crazy. It really is a small world. But yeah, this is not relating to anything, to be clear, anything to do with what Visa and MasterCard were doing with Steam and itch.io or limiting purchases with Japanese manga or anything like that. But I would venture to guess, based off of this case itself, that took almost a decade to get through, that there's a case right now being built against them. And it will take another decade or so to get to any kind of resolution for this right now. I wouldn't be surprised. But it just goes to show, with case after case after case of them settling for hundreds of millions of dollars into the multiple billions of dollars, that these companies are straight up fraudulent companies that cannot be trusted and will fuck you over every chance they get. Every single year. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is something that needs serious government attention, world attention. The World Economic Forum, if they actually were a legitimate, authentic, based group of people, would be going after Mastercard and Visa, not pushing DEI on the masses. But such is life in 2025. We'll see where it goes from here. But for now, I'm going to leave that one right there.